Yes, guys, it's Danny Glover from Fight Fan TV, proudly sponsored by Treasure Boxing Club. Going to talk about a few matters tonight. Just got back, what, 5:30 in the morning, so I know I don't look too tired, but yeah, I had a long night tonight. We're going to get into a few things. Last time out, I was talking about the Jai Opetaia situation. One thing I will say is that I do think that they need to utilize promoting him maybe in a slightly different way, as he has various markets he can appeal to. You know, he listens to hip hop and things like that, so he can get in with the American crowd like that because he is fighting in America. Also, there's a big Samoan community in America nearby. You know, Samoa's not too far from America, so even with Dana White having UFC fighters on his roster who are Samoan, you know, you can get Jai Opetaia not manufactured, but just introduce him and have him hang out with like Tai Tuivasa, who does the the shoey. Obviously, someone like Jai Opetaia will find him quite amusing and funny. Like this guy's crazy, Jai Opetaia likes to swear and that as well. But you've got two madmen, and you know that Tai Tuivasa is another big puncher who entertains him and always delivers. So you could have Jai Opetaia, hang out with a couple of his boys. Obviously, he's good friends with Joseph Parker. Obviously, Joseph Parker. I remember when Joseph Parker was eating the fish raw. And Joe Apatow was saying, "Yeah, that's like the proper traditional way. He doesn't do it like the proper. He doesn't eat fish like the proper raw way like that. Like he's doing it real traditional." Joseph Parker. So big him up. Um, so yeah, but what I will say, there's a lot going on with this fight now. Wasn't sure what was going on. Jarabtai saying that he's the IBF's on the line. Then they're saying they're going to strip him. Dan Raphael saying they're stripping the IBF stripping him. Then I've now done a bit of research. Shout out to October Red. Actually, she posted some stuff on her story, which was very informative. So I will use these the things I found here. So it says for immediate release, Springfield, New Jersey, the IBF International Boxing Federation, yeah, has withdrawn sanction of the optional defense of the IBF cruiserweight title between champion Jai Opetaia and number 15 ranked contender Brandon Glanton, scheduled for March 8th, 2026, which is a bit annoying. That's another thing I want to get into. I notice these Zuffa cards are always on a Sunday. Yeah, it might be all right for these Americans. It's late night. It's still a bit late though. Main event at 10 o'clock. People got work on the morning, but for us, it's actually Monday morning, like 5 in the morning. So we can never see these cards really. I remember the first one I could see because it was Saturday. Other than that, all the other Zuffa cards have been on a Monday morning for us UK GMT, which is Sunday night for the US viewers. But back to the what I'm reading. The initial sanctioned followed discussions that began on February 11th when IBF President Daryl Peoples, I don't even know this guy's name, and I know the WBO is a new guy, I forgot his name. I did post about it. Obviously, we know the WBA is Mendoza, and then everyone knows who WBC is. First time I heard this, I found out this guy's name, Daryl Peoples, after learning about the contest on social media, reminded Opetaia's representatives of IBF Rule 5, governing champions and unification bouts. After continued dialogue on March the 3rd, Opetaia's team confirmed the fight would not be a unification and that any belt awarded by Zuffa would be characterized as a trophy or token of recognition. By the way, I'm recording this on March the 8th as well. And the fight, but for us in the UK, it'll be technically March the 9th. Characterized as a trophy or token of recognition. The IBF has not had any discussion regarding this bout with any direct representative from Zuffa Boxing. However, the organization received assurances from Opetaia's representatives that this would be the case. The IBF approved the bout under those conditions as the bout would no longer conflict with IBF Rule number 5E2, which states in part, um, an unsanctioned contest in a fight which the IBF has not formally approved for sanction, or where sanction has been formally withdrawn. If a champion participates in an unsanctioned contest within his prescribed weight limit, the title will be declared vacant whether the champion wins or loses the bout. Interesting. The organization's rules don't always yield the preferred or popular outcome, but they provide structure and transparency, serving not just the champion but also those waiting for the opportunity to fight for the title. The pursuit of the undisputed status by unifying the IBF, WBA, WBC, and WBO titles represents the highest ambition in the sport. The IBF is committed to providing professional boxers worldwide with meaningful opportunities to advance their careers. So, Jai Opetaia has been walking around the final press conference, even the weigh-in today, or should I say yesterday, with the IBF title in the Ring magazine. In his head, he's defending the belt, and with it saying the title's vacant, I imagine if that is the case, it will only be allowed to be won by Brandon Glanton, and Jai Opetaia loses it, as he said, as they say, whether he wins or loses. Now, I don't know. Is this all a ruse? Has Dana White already paid the sanctioning body, IBF, and just said keep quiet, because playing chestnut checkers and all that type of stuff? Or has Jai Opetaia been ill-advised and under the illusion that it's one way when really it's the other way? I don't know. We're going to have to find out after the fight happens, and it will happen pretty soon after. So we'll know by Wednesday what's happened there. If Jai wins. If Jai loses, I imagine that Brandon Glanton wins the belt, and that's it. And it is what it is. Jai may be able to exercise a rematch clause. I don't know if that's in the contract. Should be, if you're fighting a ranked number 15 guy, which is normally the lowest number guy you can pick out of the ratings for your defense usually. So it was, I don't know, man. It's all a bit confusing, but I have a feeling Dana White's playing people because he keeps a lot of things under wraps and gets people guessing and confusing, and it gets the headlines. And I don't think Jai is a man who would want to make a fool of himself walking around with belts that, it doesn't make sense. And in other news, we'll talk about Tom Aspinall signing to Matchroom, but not via boxing. It seems Matchroom are now getting into the UFC or MMA field in a way, but in a different type of way. So Eddie Hearn has hit back. Dana White, as we know, he took Conor Benn, and Eddie Hearn has signed the heavyweight Tom Aspinall, who is still signed commercially to UFC, but he signed a commercial and an advisory deal with Eddie Hearn's new agency. Hearn and his team will be handling the Aspinall business dealings inside and outside the ring. But now, with Eddie Hearn's agency, what I would want to know, and what you guys probably want to know as well, is Tom preparing for like a smooth transition once his boxing, into boxing once his UFC deal's done? I don't know. But he didn't actually win the UFC heavyweight title, did he? Because he fought Cyril Garney for it, and then the eye poke, and then Cyril Garney is fighting at the White House. I forgot who his opponent is, but he's fighting at the White House on a UFC card. And I know Alex Pereira's fighting on it. There's quite a few guys, brand names and brand women. So has Dana White left that side of the contract open? Because one could consider it loose balling, the same way Eddie Hearn was loose balling in the Conor Ben situation. Um, but I know that somebody else did a management thing. Was it with was it Tito Ortiz? He did something like that where we had some fighters. I'm not sure how that went. So dealings, how do you do? It's all a bit new. I'm gonna have to do a bit more research on that and see, because yeah, you can negotiate fights and maybe purses, but we know Dana White runs a tight ship over there, so it might be a bit difficult. But as I said, is this a way of just getting him locked in, getting better deals? Because Eddie Hearn was saying that he was speaking to Tom Aspinall about his purses, and that Tom Aspinall, just like not long ago, was getting paid as a main event in front of 20,000 people half the money half the money of what Eddie Hearn pays his fights to headline um, at York Hall for a British title. So, for instance, George Liddard or Kieran Conway at York Hall earned double what Tom Aspinall was earning. Or, yeah, and that's at York Hall, which is what, 1,200, 1,500 if you really ram it. Do you know what I mean? Um, it doesn't make sense. How do you? So what's the model's a bit mad over at UFC. So I imagine Thomas Spinall will be making more than that. Eddie Hearn did say in his last couple, because his profile's got bigger, but he's saying probably about, you talk about 4 fights ago and stuff like that, which ain't that long ago. He was still very well known. He was dealing with guys in one round. He definitely, now we know why. He weren't trying to do no kind of overtime, and he was getting peanuts. It's like, come on, they're taking their Mickey Rourke. So that's going to be interesting to see. But if he does transition into boxing, because he is a puncher, he probably will get matched well, knock out guys and stuff like that. Makes sense. Um, he's in his 20s, so we'll see how far he can go, Tom Aspinall. Let us know in the comments section what you think about that. Any of the news, what you think is going to happen with Jai Opetaia's situation or Brandon Glanton. If you think that Jai's even going to win the fight, or Brandon Glanton might win the fight. I know Base the Kid has predicted. I just watched his basis picks literally now, just a moment ago before I just started this video, and I said already that I think that Jai Opetaia is going to win on points, but I do feel that he might be the first man to drop Brandon Glanton, but I think it will go to points. Also, I know Base was saying he's never seen him wobbled. I saw him get momentarily stunned and wobbled versus Marcus Brown in his last fight. He got caught as he was boring in. Marcus caught him in an exchange, and he did momentarily, but then he just, how he just bores forward more, put the pressure on him and broke him up, broke him down. So we'll see. I do think he'll get dropped, but then he'll lose on points. I think he will make it to the distance. Base has picked a unanimous decision for Jai Opetaia. Thinks it will be a tough fight. I think it will be a tough fight as well, because Brandon is very prideful, relentless. The body shots, the come forward, he puts you on the rope and works away. I think there'll be moments of that. Yes, Jai will be bouncing at first, but when the feet start to slow down a bit, or he'll look to dig his heels in, it will get a bit tasty in there. So yeah, let us know what you think about that, the both situations. And also, I don't really talk about misfit scene. That's not really my portion. But I did manage to see the highlights of Ty Mitchell beating Gabriel Rosado, and he's called out Ben Whitaker, saying that his last two opponents are better than anybody Ben Whitaker's fought. But I will say that the guys he has fought has been at super middleweight. Ben is and light heavyweight, and it probably was easy, even though obviously he was Ty Mitchell's been doing Ramadan, so he's not going to be on his best performance. It probably was a bit. It was probably easier to make the weight division this time round in Ramadan due to him fasting. So he probably made the 12 stone limit a lot easier. But with his height and his age, he'd be able to do light heavyweight pretty comfortably. I think he'd probably enjoy it up there. Probably feel more energized, and it'd be a good payday and a great opportunity for him to showcase himself. Um, I think so. Yeah, interesting. Let's see what Ben Whitaker says about that. Other than that, we'll wait for the result of this card. The undercard, none of the guys I know on there. It's not a good undercard at all for this Zuffa thing. Um, Nobody's going to be interested in it. So I can't. Even, I'm not even going to bother. I looked at it and I was like, I don't know these guys, so I'm not even going to bother go on BoxRec now and reel out names for them, like nonsense. I saw one woman get knocked out bad today, though, on the Misfits. It was actually funny. I know Ryan Brzezinski fought yesterday. I haven't seen the result of that. Um, Tony Yoka and Lawrence Okoli have been talking up a good deal on TalkSport. Very good talkers. Tony Yoka did his own separate one as well, as Lawrence Okoli did. We'll get into that more closer to the fight. That one being Paris next month, 25th of April. So yeah, other than that, hit the like button, subscribe button, hype button, share. Please leave comments, helps the algorithm. Until next time, it's Danny Glover from Fight Fan TV, proudly sponsored by Treasure Boxing Club. And remember, guys, persistence beats resistance. You know what it is. Haha.